Good evening everybody and welcome back to Global Spec Racing here at the Circuit of the Americas in the United States. We're here for round number 13 of Tier 1 this season. I am EXFL Charlie in the commentary box today. I don't know whether I'm going to be joined by TRT Arthur this evening or not. But, so it's round 13 today at many Drivers' Home Grand Prix. Last time out we saw EXFL claim the title after a chaotic race in Canada. So EXFL, the first double-tier champion in GSR, and of course the league owner as well. And he's going to be starting from the back in the rest of the races. That's why he has retired at the minute. Currently though, V2X Combat is on provisional pole position. He's in the battle for second place in the championship with GSR 8F1, who right now goes to start a lap. I think anyway. I need to put the lap data on. Looks like he is starting a lap right now, is the Ferrari driver. And then second is VRT Whammon in the Williams, then Jab in the Alpha Tauri, Sync Sam in the other Haas. And then sixth is TRT Immortal Aid, cuts to the S's and is invalid. So he is going to have to get back to the pits to do his final lap. Bad F1 Opinions is next, and he is starting a lap right now around the final corner. And starting in that Racing Point car. Then it's Ricochet in the Alfa Romeo, then GSR Patriot in 9th in the Renault, SSR Hamilton, who's currently spun round, in that Mercedes. He's a Tier 2 driver, of course. I don't know what he's doing right now. Taking him quite a while. He's on 2-minute lap at the minute. I don't know what he's actually doing. EXFL Edgars is next. He's also a Tier 2 driver. Along with GSR FH4, who is also a Tier 2 driver, along with Cormac, who is also a Tier 2 driver, then Kagoda, then Brute Gorgon, and Busy Gorgon, who both haven't set laps yet. Busy Gorgon is about to set a lap right now around the final corner in the McLaren. Is he going to go anywhere near the front of the field? It looks like a good lap so far from Busy Gorgon, and it does put him P5, so a good lap from the McLaren driver. I think we'll watch Brute Gorgon next. He's invalid actually. So Brute Gorgon, he's the only person not to set a lap that's still in this session yet. If we're talking about, we're excluding Axe, then he is the only driver not to set a lap yet in this session. Who else is on a lap? I think we've got Patriot, he's invalid. Ricochet's pitting. Bad F1 Opinions is still on his lap. He's about to go through the right-hander into the final couple of corners. So what can Bad F1 Opinions do in that Racing Point? He's going to go around the final corner now. This looks like a decent lap from the Racing Point driver, and it is going to put him ahead of TRT Immortal, so P7 for Bad F1 Opinions at the minute. I think Jab is on a lap, but he is invalid. Who else have we got? We've got Cormac who's on a lap. He's a 10th up in the first sector. Goda is invalid. Brute Gorgon is invalid too. V2X Combat's on an outlap. I think everyone else at the minute is in the pit lane. So we're kind of at the quiet part of this quali session right now. And also we have a problem that the bot hasn't put the... Alright, brilliant. The bot hasn't put the stream link in the announcements, in the social media. Brilliant. Let me just sort that quickly. One second. Alright, there we go. So right now, Edgars is out of the session as well, so he's going to be starting P12 or lower, depending on if FH, Cormac, Kagoda or Brute Gorgon do improve. Depends on where Brute Gorgon actually goes first. Sync Sam is on a lap right now, but he is actually going into the pit lane. So yeah, basically everyone in the pit lane, except Ricochet, who is on a outlap, Cormac, who's invalid. So yeah, very quiet in this session at the minute, but the pit lane, people are starting to go out. There's a McLaren there, just going out ahead of Sync Sam. Alright, so Rico has started his lap in the Alfa Romeo. Of course, his teammate is the champion right now, so he is going to be setting a lap for the Alfa Romeo team in this qualifying session. He's the only person that's going to be doing it, but he has spun out of turn 1, as you can see. So Rico has rather ruined his lap all before it really got into rhythm, so he's going to have to go back to the pits quite quickly if he wants to set another lap in this session, because he is really up against it with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock. That might be it for Rico in this session. He might not get to set another lap because there aren't really many corners to cut around the circuit of the Americas, so he has really messed it up by spinning there. Really the worst possible scenario for him at the minute. A lot of people are coming out of the pit lane now. You can see the very congested turn 1. GSR F4 has managed to go up pretty quickly. He's got a massive gap all the way to his teammate VRT Whammon, who is only down through the S's right now. And so GSR F4 has got a lot of space, a lot of breathing space in this quali session at the minute. I don't know if anyone's on a lap. Busy Gorgon's on a lap through the S's right now. Takes that very cleanly indeed. I want to see a split through the first sector after that. He is 2/10 up at the minute, so Busy Gorgon is probably going to go ahead of Sink Sam with this lap if he can just carry on at the pace he is going at so far in that McLaren. And then now down into turn number... I don't even know what turn that is, to be honest. We need to get a track map up. Okay, so Busy Gorgon as a Renault off. Kagoda's actually off at the hairpin at the S's, but I don't think there's anyone going near there soon. He's 3/10 up, is Busy Gorgon at the minute, so he could potentially be going into P2 if he can just put together a good final sector in that McLaren. Slides a little bit out of turn 12, sorry, turn 12, turn 16, and now round turn 17 and 18 goes Busy Gorgon, and round the final few corners, I think he's backed off on that lap. There's a lot of traffic around the final corner, so he wouldn't have been able to get through that. He's got GSR F1, he's going very slowly around that final corner. So Busy Gorgon has backed off. He's going to go again now in that McLaren. It was a shame for him because that was looking like a very good lap indeed from the McLaren. Of course, I think he's a T1 reserve, to be honest, with Busy Gorgon. But basically everyone on laps right now. We've got VRT Whammon's actually invalidated his lap, so he is not in the running for pole. The checkered flag is out. Bad F1 opinions is going to be P7 or lower in this session. VRT Whammon is really out of the contention for pole. He's going to have to get out of the way of Brute Gorgon, probably give him the tow down into turn 12, down the second DRS straight, second and final DRS straight of the lap, and now does get out of the way. So some cross-team orders from VRT Whammon there. I'm not sure if they're in parties or anything, but VRT Whammon giving Brute Gorgon the tow. That's a 1:05 in the second sector for Brute Gorgon in the Alpha Tauri. He's going to be the first person out of this massive train of cars to settle that. There's also a Mercedes off. I think that might be SSR Hamilton. No, it's not. It's actually TRT Immortal in currently P9, so he's not going to be going any faster either in this session. Brute Gorgon now is going to go round the final corner, turn 20 of this lap. Is it going to be good for him? It's going to be P7 for Brute Gorgon. Rico, by the way, has gone P4, so he did make it round to the flag. So good job from him. I don't know who's next. I think it might be GSR F4 has gone P12. SSR Hamilton goes P9. Who's going to be next? It's going to be one of the Hasses. It might be. I think that's V2X Combat. No, it's Sink Sam in the Haas. Is he going to go any faster? He's going to go P2, so it's currently a Haas 1-2, and V2X Combat improves. It might be a Haas 1-2 in this quality session because Busy Gorgon isn't going to go any faster unless GSR Patriot can do anything, which he can't because he is invalid, and TRT Immortal is invalid too, which means there's a Haas 1-2 in this quality session. V2X Combat is on pole from Sink Sam, VRT Whammon, Jab, Rico, GSR F1, Busy Gorgon, then Brute Gorgon, SSR Hamilton, Bad F1 Opinion, TRT Immortal, GSR F4, GSR Patriot, ETSR Edgars, Cormac, Kagoda, and Axe in this quality session. But I think Busy Gorgon just got disqualified. So if he did, That is not going to be a good start for him. I want to see this. Oh, no, he has. Busy Gorgon got disqualified right at the end of the session for going the wrong way around the track. So Axe won't be starting at the back. He'll actually be starting second last. Busy Gorgon, meant to be starting P7 on the grid, now going to be starting from P17 on the grid. Alright, so anyway, we are now heading into the race, round number 13 of this season. Are we going to see a new winner in this race? We've currently had, let me have a look at that quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've had 7 different winners in this season, being V2X Combat, GSR Axe, GSR Pluto, Polo God, GSR ADF1, TRC Immortal, and Sam Cole. And obviously, Axe winning. Axe, the only multiple winner this season. He's the only driver to win more than one race. He won in Australia, he won in Bahrain, he also won in Austria and Italy and Hungary and Canada. So he has a total of 5 wins to his name this season. 6 wins to his name. Yeah, 6 wins to his name. 6 out of 13 races won for Axe F1 this season. So not too shabby for the Alfa Romeo driver. A worthy champion. A worthy champion after just 12 rounds of the season. That is very impressive indeed from the Alfa Romeo driver. So off they go for the formation lap then. V2X Combat leading them off the grid. Sync Sam and VRT Whammon going to be following him. Anyway, talking about last time out, only 5 finishes we had. Axe F1 was first from GSR ADF1, TRT Immortal, Jab and V2X Combat. Everyone else DNF'd. The DNFs were Brute Gorgon, Kagoda, GSR FH444, VRT Whammon, Sync Sam, JRT Jack, and SSR Hamilton. Aaron Felipe and Louis M have a DNR on the race results. Guessing they obviously just didn't start. They probably didn't qualify but didn't start. And then Axe has an 81 point gap to V2X Combat coming into this weekend. The battle for second though really hotting up between V2X Combat and GSR ADF1. There's 3 points between them in the standings. V2X Combat on 122 with GSR ADF1 on 119. And then behind them, the battle for 4th is very close as well because Jab and TRT Immortal are both on 83 points. So a close battle going on there. Sync Sam is 6th with 68 points. Then both Alfa Romeos, both racing points. Kyle S and Bad F1 Opinions separated by 2 points, but Kyle S isn't racing today, so Bad F1 Opinions really has the chance to overtake his teammate in the points today. In the Constructors, it's a 2 point gap between Haas and Alfa Romeo. So it's going to be this is really hotting up towards the end of the season. But anyway, finished at quite the right time because they are now lining up on the grid. V2X Combat taking his grid spot first, and then his Haas teammate lining up alongside him. It's round 13 of Tier 3. It's the US Grand Prix in GSR Tier 1. The best of the best in the league. And you can see a lot of them. Oh, I think TRT Immortal and Bad F1 Opinions have actually lagged out. I think they might have. I don't know whether they need invites back. But yeah. The lights are on. It is GSR Tier 1, round 13 at US. They're revving up now, and it's lights out, and away we go, and V2X Combat will lead them off the line from Sig Sam. VRT Whammon is already ahead of that Haas, and Jab is going to go down the middle of both of them into turn 1, and Jab is round! Jab is round on the exit. He touched with GSR 8 F1. That's massive disappointment for the AlphaTauri driver. Meanwhile, V2X Combat is still leading from Sig Sam, so the Haas's have maintained their 1-2, and TRT Immortal is actually out of this race. He's DNF down at turn 1. We have yellows in sector 1 and 2. GSR Patriots also going very slowly as well. A pretty chaotic start. Axe is already up into P11. He's made up 5 places off the start, has the Alfa Romeo driver. Very good stuff from the league owner. But SSR Hamilton is actually fighting him right now and is wheel to wheel with him out of turn 11. But doesn't get the move done. Axe still ahead of him. Jab, Brute Gorgon, Bad F1 Opinion, and GSR Patriot have all had terrible starts and are quite far back from the field. But V2X Combat leads them away at the end of lap 1 from Sig Sam, VRT Whammon, then Rico up into P4. Aid has made up a place. GSR FA 444 has had a great start too. He's up into P6. Cormac and Edgars are fighting too. 7th and 8th for the Tier 2 reserves. 6th, 7th and 8th for the Tier 2 reserves, sorry. If we're talking about FA 444 as well. And then SSR Hamilton is fighting as well, and Busy Gorgon and Axe are fighting with each other down through the penultimate corner. Axe is still ahead, and Busy Gorgon's going to leave SSR Hamilton the room. They make contact, but SSR Hamilton stays ahead, and now we have the timing glitch. Brilliant. So now it says that V2X Combat is 10th in this race when he really isn't. So Bad F1 Opinion has pitted. He's lost his front wing in the pit lane. You just see him kicking away the remnants of his front wing. So he's obviously had a big collision on this first lap. I don't really know what else is going on. I can't really see because of this timing glitch we're having right now. But V2X Combat still leading. We have yellow flags. We have a VSC. That's a massive crash down there. Kagoda and Jab both out of this race, and SSR Hamilton is caught up there too. That looks like a huge crash down at turn 8. I'm pretty sure that is. But that seems like a pretty nasty crash involving Jab, SSR Hamilton, and Kagoda, and that has brought out the virtual safety car in this race. So yeah, not the best start. Not the best start. I mean, not the best start to the race for the AlphaTauri team. 1 DNF and 1 P13. Jab, pretty miserable for him. He got spun at turn 1 and is now out of the race. I didn't see what happened. All I saw was 2 cars pretty badly wrecked. And Rico has got a drive-through for speeding on the VSC. I think Edgars has got one too, unless that's a 3-second penalty. I need to have a look at the penalties quickly. Edgars just has a 3-second penalty. But so Rico has got a drive-through after speeding under the safety car. But V2X Combat with an 8/10 gap to his teammate, who's having to deal with the Williams of VRT Whammon, who is really the closest challenger to those Haas guys at the front at the minute. They are looking at a very good result for the team for the Constructors' Championship as well, considering that they are in a huge battle with Alfa Romeo. One of them has a drive-through and the other one is in 8th, but he has made a brilliant start. 8 places made up on the start for Axe F1, and he's on the back of Cormac F1 now too. I want to see, it'll be interesting to see where he will end up being towards the end of the race. He's doing very well so far, and he's actually gaining on Cormac. He's got the DRS on Cormac, and he is going down the inside of Cormac. So Axe F1 up into 7th place. What a start from him. And he he spun it! Axe has spun out of turn 12. Axe has gone round, just putting the power down. He spun the car and is now down in P10. Awful stuff from Axe. He's not going to be happy with that one, especially being the champion. He probably won't mind as much as he would if he wasn't the champion so far. But his tyres have burned because of that. He's on the mediums, so that probably isn't going to make too much. Can't speak. That hopefully won't put the wear up too much. I don't know if he'll go into the pits this lap, and he hasn't. But elsewhere, that ADF1 and Ricochet are fighting. I don't think this is worth fighting for Aid, considering that Ricochet has to go in and serve a drive-through penalty soon. So it might be worth just waiting for that drive-through penalty. I mean, for Aid, but I don't know whether he's gonna try and make that move. Seems to be just dropping back a little bit through sector 1 and the early sector 2 there. He's now 4 tenths back. He's got the DRS though, that will help him. He's gaining on the Alfa Romeo. I don't think he'll be close enough when it comes down to the braking zone to make a move. He's definitely not. So I think Ricochet will have to come in and serve his drive through this lap. So that gives Aid the one final chance to get ahead of him before he goes in to serve that drive-through penalty. This happened. We have yellow flags in sector 1. I think SSR Hamilton might have spun. Yes, he has. So he's not had the best start, has he? He's not had the best start, and he's gone into the wall. Lost it again, has SSR Hamilton. I don't know if that was intentional or what. And we have yellow flags. Busy Gorgon has now gone round. He's pitted. Ricochet's gone in to serve the drive-through. We have a virtual safety car out in this race now. I don't know what it's for. It might be for Busy Gorgon. Because it did look like there were yellow flags caused by him. I don't know what happened there, though. And he has got a wing change right now. Right, so the VSC is still out, and it has come in now. I think they've managed to get away with not getting any penalties. Ricochet is going very slowly through turn 8, and we have yellow flags in sector 2 because of it. SSR Hamilton is going into the pits, and he has had a pretty dismal race so far, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does retire here. And he does retire. SSR Hamilton becomes the 4th DNF in 5 laps in this race. So only 13 people left already. We've still got the top 3 closely pursuing each other through the weaving through the corners. The 2 Haas cars and the Williams cars. If you saw this in real life, you'd think you'd be dreaming. But this is real. This is happening. Both Haas's in a 1-2 right now. They've been dominant all season, and this result here really going to help their constructors. And SSR Hamilton's retired car really getting in the way right now of V2X Combat. It's going to get in the way of Sig Sam as well. Oh my goodness! Sig Sam really held up by the retired car of SSR Hamilton there. He's lucky not to have been got any consequences from that, because that was very, very close to being a collision with a lapped car there, with a retired car there. Sorry. That he hasn't. Luckily, he's not lost much time there. Ricochet's gone into the pits again. I'm guessing this is for a scheduled pit stop. He obviously served his drive-through. He's down in P11 now, and he'll probably come out behind GSR Patriot too. And Ricochet is getting a wing change as well, actually. So he's going onto the soft tyres again. I'm guessing this is going to be a 2-stop strategy for Ricochet then. V2X Combat, though, still leading from Sig Sam, VLC Whammon, and GSR AF1 a good 4 seconds back from them. He's currently P4 in that battle for second place. It won't be enough to put him ahead of V2X Combat at the minute. In fact, V2X Combat is going to extend his gap by 13 points today. So coming into the final few rounds of the season, that's not going to be what GSR AF1 wants to hear. Looking at that graphic that you'll see in the top left of his screen, seeing V2X Combat in P1, he won't like that one bit, and he'll definitely want to push and put an end to the fun of the Haas guys. He seems to be pushing quite a bit. He's gained 3 tenths since I've started spectating him. He was 4.2 behind now. Now he's 3.9, 4.0. He seems to be hovering around that area. And he's got GSR FH 444, and he's about to be passed by ETSR Edgars into turn 1 unless GSR FH 444 is going to try and defend down the inside, which he will the Williams driver, and they're still side by side, but Edgars gets a great exit and will move up into P5 in this race. And now the Williams of FH is sandwiched by the Red Bulls of ETSR Edgars and Cormac. So Axe is actually getting close to this fight as well after his spin. He's managed to fight back up to where he was before, because he was behind Cormac before his spin. Good stuff from Axe to get back up into the position he was in just before that spin. I don't know how much time he would have lost from that spin. But the DRS now in effect on this straight. Edgars is going to be a sitting duck down this straight. They're weaving quite a bit of Edgars and FH, but FH is going to get ahead with DRS, and Axe and Cormac are also fighting too, and FH actually goes a little bit wide out on turn 12. I don't know what happened there, and he might lose 2 places because of that, and maybe 3, and they nearly make contact at Edgars and FH. However, they're still fighting it out round the outside, and this is very close fighting between the Red Bulls, a Williams and an Alfa Romeo. I think Axe and FH might have made contact there. Made contact again, I'm pretty sure. And now Cormac is getting quite in the way, and I think he might have blocked Axe there. That was very close between these 4, and that's allowing Brute Gorgon to get in on the action now too, to a 5-car fight for P5 here. Axe is going to get ahead of FH with the DRS. FH has not had the greatest of laps. He's lost 3 places in the last lap, but Axe gets a little lock-up into turn 1, which allows FH to still stick his nose in there and maybe get a little, maybe have a little chance of still retaining P7. However, I don't think he will. And Brute Gorgon is losing quite a lot of time now. FH nearly spins it through the S's, manages to save it. So at the moment, it doesn't look like these guys are going to change positions unless they do down on this straight. FH seems to have got a great exit from turn 9 though, so that is pretty optimistic for him. Rounded with the DRS being enabled, Edgars is going to be a sitting duck to Cormac unless the DRS isn't as effective as Cormac would want it. Axe though is going to go breezing past the Red Bull, and Cormac's actually going to fight back here. Axe locks up, and Cormac stays ahead of Axe. This is a good fight between these guys. I don't know whether Axe, I don't know what the strategy these guys are on, so I don't know if the strategy will make a difference between these guys too. FH is still really looking at it here. So is Brute Gorgon, but they just can't capitalise on anything right now. Can the Williams and the AlphaTauri? Axe going to try and look to the outside of turn 16 now, and now it's not even turn 16. What am I on about? Now around the final corner, Edgars is a little bit wide. It looked like there. I'm not sure if he actually will pay for that. It looks like he might, because Cormac is gaining very much. So is Axe. He's gaining quite a lot with the DRS. Cormac now is going to go down the inside. Meanwhile, Sink Sam was actually pitted and has come out just behind this fight for P4 now. But of course, Sam on the newer tyres, Sam might get involved in this fight, and he might have a great time overtaking these cars, or the Haas driver. However, Axe is really going to be trying to defend from him, considering they're in a championship fight. Sam now firstly goes down the inside. Oh, and Whammon has spun it. Whammon has spun, and now F1 is ahead of him. There's still a massive train here. We're watching this fight quite a lot now. Edgars now is going to try and use the DRS to get ahead of Cormac. He switches, he fakes him out, and into which way to defend. And Edgars is ahead of Cormac. Axe is going to look to go down the inside as well, but not close enough to do it. This is quite a big fight. So I don't know what happened to Sam as well, because he's 5 seconds back from these guys now, and that's obviously not going to help him. F1 gets a penalty for multiple warnings. V2X Combat has gone into the pits to make his pit stop. Whammon has stayed out 2. Voice crack there. Axe now is ahead of Cormac as well. Seems to be really quieting down now. The pit window is open for Axe. I mean, it said the pit window is open for soft. I guess that's probably for the medium runners. And FH now is ahead of Cormac as well. Cormac's really not having a great time right now, but Cormac is going to fight back down through turn 2. Cormac is back ahead of FH. He gets a 3-second penalty going over that curb there. Oh, Cormac is a poor exit. FH looks to capitalise on it, but then isn't close enough. The gap isn't big enough. They look like they make contact again. FH is trying to go into some small gaps here, and it's just not really working out for him. Obviously, the Tier 2 reserve, not a full-time Tier 1 driver, but is a Tier 2 driver. He's fighting for the championship in Tier 2 right now with BG, who currently races in that Williams. Oh, and they do make contact again there, do Cormac and FH. Anyway, Brute Gorgon's looking at it. Sync Sam has gained 3.1 seconds out of that. That's insane. That is very good from Sync Sam. He's really got the pace on those new medium tyres. And he's 1.9. He's 5.1 seconds from them last lap. He's now 1.5. That is absolutely insane from Sync Sam. He's really got so much pace on those tyres. GSR F1 then has gone into the pits, as has VRT Guaman. So VTEX Combat is going to lead this race by quite a bit. And I don't know whether Axe, Edgars, Cormac and FH are going to pit. It looks like they are staying out. So this battle will now become for higher position, but it won't be for long when they have to make their eventual pit stops. So this battle now for P2 in this race. Sync Sam is ahead of Aid, who is ahead of Guaman. Guaman really, after that spin, has lost so much time. He's really, seems like he's thrown it away almost, has the Williams driver. Meanwhile, Sync Sam and Brute Gorgon are fighting. Sync Sam is ahead of the AlphaTauri, and now he's going to chase down that Williams of FH444 ahead of him. This is a net P2 position for Sync Sam at the minute, but VTEX Combat has really got a great lead right now. 4.8 seconds to Axe, who has to pit. So does Edgars, so does Cormac, so does FH, and then Sync Sam. I want to see the gap to leader, because he's basically now, I've gone the wrong one. Basically now VTEX Combat has an 8.1 second lead, because all of the guys ahead of him except VTEX Combat has to pit again, and that's a very, very huge dive bomb from Sync Sam, who's going to try and go for it on FH. He's really trying to get as close to VTEX Combat as possible without these cars getting in the way. And that's a big dive bomb, and they do make contact. FH goes wide, and now ADF1 might go through it. Oh, they make contact, and Sync Sam was very lucky there not to have been spun round by the Ferrari of ADF1. And now Sam is really going to defend very, very, very aggressively to ADF1. Sam's obviously not in a very good mood after that, and FH is going to go down the inside of both of them. Oh, FH, and that's forced Sync Sam out wide. FH has just potentially cost Sync Sam a very good result here. I don't know what was happening there. He just made a very late dive bomb into turn 1. I don't know whether they have damage from that or not. Doesn't look like they do. Suddenly, this battle has just split up very, very, yeah, it's just split up very, very quickly, has the battle between, all of those guys. Suddenly, they're separated by basically 5 seconds. So, VTEX Combat has the fastest lap. Axe stays out for yet another lap. Cormac has pitted. Ada stayed out. Of course, he has already made the pit stop to the medium tyres. I'm pretty sure it is a one-stop going on to this, doing the soft medium. pretty sure you can make it into a one-stop. I don't know. He's still got 15 laps to stretch those medium tyres. And he obviously pitted like 2 laps ago. Sync Sound is about a second back from him. Obviously, after that dive bomb from FH, he's lost quite a bit of time. But is still like probably in a net podium result right now. Net P3 for him. And then you've got VRC Whammon, who obviously had that spin and lost quite a bit of time from it. Yeah, he lost quite a bit of time from that, which now he is down in a net P4 after the guys ahead do eventually make their pit stops. So at the minute we've got VRC Whammon getting a penalty. That's what we've got right now. Not really many battles going on. And also me accidentally taking a screenshot. Yeah, not the smallest gap out on track is 9/10. So I'm guessing probably when they make their pit stops, this will get a whole lot closer. If I have one opinions, currently P10. He needs to get P9 if he wants to equal the points that he needs to get ahead of his teammate. He'll be 2 points away from his teammate Kyle S, who of course isn't racing today. If he can get P8, he will go ahead of his teammate. If he goes P9, he will go equal with his teammate. ETSR Edgar sets the fastest lap on the soft tyres, so he is flying right now. As he tries to catch Brute Gorgon. Also, VRC Whammon and FH444 very. And my mic cut out, brilliant. While I was commentating over that. Anyway, we do know Whammon is ahead of FH444. Axe still hasn't made his pit stop. FH still hasn't made his pit stop. But Edgars is closing in on the back of Brute Gorgon. Yeah, Edgar's really flying on the back of Brute Gorgon right now. Is he? Gonna maybe get the move done. He was looking very close before, but now that of course those softs are going to die out very quickly. So yeah, we've got yellow in sector 2. Cormac has spun. I think he resets to track. Looking at the track map there. Yeah, is he going to go down the inside? Edgars is going to go down the inside. Brute Gorgon holds it around the outside. Good defending from the Alpha Tauri. Anyway, got Edgar still on the back of him. He hasn't been able to make a move yet. So we'll sync Sam is close to the back of F1. For P3 right now, we've got a yellow flag. Axe has spun it again. The Alfa Romeo of Axe, the champion, is having quite a poor race. That's his second spin of the day. It was looking good for him, and he's now lost 3 positions because of that. I'm guessing he'll probably be pitting this lap. He does go into the pits this lap. Axe going into the pit lane. Sync Sam is still close to the back of F1. This is for the real P2 now. They are fighting for actual P2 now. FH gone into the pits too. And he is going on to the soft, so he's going to do 11 laps. So FH has come out right on the back of Bad F1 Opinions, and Bad F1 Opinions is in the place that he needs. But what a move from GSR FH 444. If he can make that stick, that will be a great move from the Williams driver, and he has made it stick. What a move from FH 444 on Bad F1 Opinions, and he is up into P8. Good move from the Tier 2 reserve. Anyway, Brute Gorgon is on the back of Busy Gorgon. Both of the Gorgons are near each other now. And we have another yellow flag. That is Cormac again. It's all gone from good to mediocre to bad for Cormac. He was looking like he was going to get a good points finish now, but he is down in P12. So not best for him. Bad F1 Opinions is pit, so he will go down into P10 and probably drop out the points. So he's not going to go where he needs to be to overtake his teammate in the championship, and he actually is getting a wing change. Don't know if he made contact with FH444 when he overtook him, but right now we've still got the battle for P2. Sync Sam did get ahead of GSR 8F1. 6/10 is the gap between the Haas and the Ferrari. VRT Whammon is gaining quite a bit as well. But the penalty scenario is going to tell us a lot different, because Sync Sam has 3 seconds, GSR 8F1 has 6 seconds, and VRC Whammon has 9. So Brute Gorgon did get ahead of Busy Gorgon. That's for P5, so a good result for either of them, really. So GSR FH4 also gets penalties, some of the biggest penalties at the minute. Okay, right. So, VRT Whammon is very close now. He's gaining by quite a bit each lap. The gap between him and Aid is smaller than the gap between Sync Sam and Aid. V2X Combat, he has been very relatively quiet this race. He's 14 seconds in the lead. It's been a commanding drive from him, and that is really going to help him in his charge for second in the championship. Right now, GSR Triple 4 and EXFL are battling too. Not really battling, but they're close to each other. Of course, the champion and the Tier 2 reserve, very two different drivers. Let's just say that. One of them is at the top of Tier 1, the other one is at the top of Tier 2. So they've got some similarities between them. But of course, it's a different tier, so yeah. Really much going on right now. We've got this small gap between Brute Gorgon and Busy Gorgon, but of course that's really been staying the same. It's really stayed the same for quite a few laps, and so is this battle for P2 between Sync Sam, GSR 8F1 and VRT Whammon. That's really been staying the same as well. We'll still have a look at it, but it doesn't look like this is changing. Axe is ahead of Edgar's, who is actually in the pits, but I can't see that because I had the penalty graphic on. Anyway, Patriot is actually close to the back of Cormac. These two haven't had the best of races today. I think that can be said, and we could probably agree with that one. Looks like Cormac is going to stay ahead. Barrett one of these gets a 3-second penalty, and Cormac has spun! That's a massive accident! Patriot is out of this race. And we have a safety car towards the end of this race. The safety car is out, and all of a sudden, V2X Combat's landslide win seems to have taken a huge toll. Right at the end of this race, this could really go either way now between V2X Combat, Sync Sam, and GSR 8F1, or VRT Whammon. To be honest, a lot of them really in with the chance of winning this race. Yeah, Patriot saying in the chat right now, he just completely lost it. It snaps when he was in Cormac's dirty air. So, all of a sudden, that crash has thrown this race wide open. So V2X Combat has picked for the soft. I'm guessing everyone else is probably going to do that as well, because Sig Sam, Aid and Whammon have also come in. Suddenly, this could go either way, this race. They're all going to go onto the soft tyres, of course. It looks like Whammon, oh no, sorry, never mind. But Aid has jumped Sig Sam in the pit stops. So Aid is ahead of Sig Sam through the pit stops. He obviously had a good stop to get ahead of them. Aid is up into P2, an overtake under the safety car, under the pit stops. FH has obviously pitted already, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he has. Oh, no, he hasn't. He's on 5 lap old softs. Okay. He's going to be slower than everyone else on that restart. So yeah, they're like the top 4 are behind the safety car now. I have a feeling this safety car will be up for a long old while, considering that Ricochet is nearly 2 minutes behind Cormac. Cormac's right behind him, so he's nearly 2 laps behind him, basically. Fair play to each haven't got penalties so far. Brute Gorgon, Busy Gorgon, and V2X Combat. Fair play to them for not getting any penalties in this race so far. I want to look at how many warnings they've got. If any of them have got any warnings, then no warnings, and that would be very impressive. So V2X Combat has 2. Brute Gorgon also has 2. Busy Gorgon also has 2. So everyone who doesn't have a penalty needs 1 more warning to get one. That's not including those who have DNF'd, because, well, they all DNF'd basically at the start, except Patriot, who's obviously brought out this safety car. But they're basically all lined up. We're just waiting for bad F1 opinions and Cormac. So the safety car will probably be in next lap. These guys are basically racing each other under this safety car. And Cormac's got a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. I'm guessing he probably overtook Ricochet. It looks like he has, considering he's on his own now. So Cormac's got a 5-second for ignoring yellow flag. I'm guessing he might appeal that to get removed. But now we're just waiting on Cormac, and I'm guessing the safety car will be in this lap. Brute Gorgon has dropped down to P10. I'm not sure what happened to him, but he's dropped down to P10. So all of a sudden, this race has turned wide open between any of the top 4. So safety car in this lap then. So we'll have the final 4 laps of this race. In normal racing conditions, V2X Combat is going to have to defend from the absolute army behind him. on this restart. So he's going to go very slowly off this restart. And that is where he goes. That is where V2X Combat leads them away off the safety car restart. The safety car hasn't even reached the pit lane yet. They're all getting 3-second penalties there. V2X Combat got one on the restart there. But there we go then. V2X Combat leads them away. Down into turn 1. GSR F1 right on the back of him. Into turn 1. Busy Gorgon is ahead of FH4. I told you he is sitting duck on the old tyres. It looks like he probably is. But out in front, they're very close together. Um, 7/10 though is the gap. V2X Combat seems to have pulled away quite quickly on that restart. Whammon's very close to the back of Sync Sam, who is also very close to the back of FH4. Not FH4. ADF1 Master. I give up. I honestly give up. I mean GSR F1. I got it right. GSR F1. So, I think I managed to get my, thought process back together. And I will actually talk properly now. V2X Combat seems to have pulled away quite a bit on that restart. He's already pulled out a second to GSR F1, the Ferrari driver behind him. Obviously crucial in that battle for second in the championship. Sync Sam though is getting very close, but he doesn't have a lock-up into turn 1. Edgars and FH are going wheel to wheel into turn 1. Edgars is ahead of FH2. And FH is really not having the best time on those older tyres. He's on 8-lap old tyres compared to everyone else who's on 2 or 3 or 4-lap old tyres. He's not having the best of days so far. Brute Gorgon isn't either. It went from very good to very bad very quickly. But Sam still close to the back, but isn't able to make the move. I can't even speak. FH is back ahead of Edgars. Axe is now chasing down Busy Gorgon though, into turn 12. Axe could still be on for a P5 finish here, but that is not going to be near enough for what they need for the championship. This has now become a huge fight for P2 here. 2nd to 6th. 5 cars involved in this. Aid, Sam, Whammon, Busy Gorgon, and Axe F1. Busy Gorgon come out of nowhere now to get involved in this fight. Is the McLaren driver. We're on the penultimate lap of this race now. When we cross the line, we'll be on the penultimate lap. V2X Combat coming across the line now. DRS is enabled for the final 2 laps of this race, and all of a sudden, it has got very, very close under that safety car. And 2nd place could really go to anyone right now. At the minute, it is going to Busy Gorgon because he has no penalty. So Busy Gorgon currently is going to get P2 in this race, which is absolutely amazing. BRC Whammon is going to drop down the order quite a bit with 12 seconds of penalties. Axe has 9 seconds, and Axe is ahead of Busy Gorgon, by the way. He's got through and is up into P5. However, I'm going to have a look at the gap to leader right now and see what the penalties are going to look like. At the minute, it's going to be a landslide. It's going to be amazing for Busy Gorgon. He's only 3 seconds off of ADF1, and everyone ahead of him has penalties. So Busy Gorgon is currently P2 in this race. That is insane from the McLaren driver. I don't know who would be second though. It's quite I don't know. Let's think. I'm doing some maths right now while I'm meant to be commentating. Then it'll be Aid, then it'll be Sam. Whoever's ahead of Aid and Sam will get the final podium spot. I'm pretty sure anyway. But anyway, I'm getting a bit carried away. I need to commentate this final lap instead of doing maths. I can save that for Monday. So the final lap of the US Grand Prix, lap 28. Who is going to come out on top? It looks like V-Tracks Combat will get the win, but the focus right now is going to be on whoever gets this P2 spot. And we've got yellow flags in second to Gorgon, who has retired from the race, just on track randomly. He's obviously not going to get points today. Unlucky for him. But right now, it's between ADF1 and Sync Sam. Sync Sam, of course, he's using overtake a lot of it now, as he's basically on the brink. Both of them basically on the brink of their ERS right now, looking at the steering wheel. They're both on, it was on orange for a bit. VRC Whammon though, look at Whammon! Whammon is ahead of Sync Sam. That is not gonna bode well for the Haas driver, who is currently battling for P2. Whammon might even get aid here. If he did, that would have been sensational, but he does go a little bit wide and Sam goes back ahead of him. Oh, Whammon! Whammon and Sam! What's going on there? Axe is now ahead of Sam. Oh no, Sam's going to go for a ridiculous dive bomb, and they make contact again! Sam has suddenly just gone from amazing to awful for him in the space of a few corners, but V2X Combat, his teammate, he's driven absolutely sensationally today, and V2X Combat will win in Tier 1 here at the US Grand Prix. What a race from the Haas driver. GSR F1 will come over in P2 on track. Axe will get the penalties, but Busy Gorgon is in P2. What a race from the McLaren driver. ADF1 will take P3 from Sync Sam. ADF1. Bad F1 opinions will take P6. VRC1 all the way down in P7. What a race that was. What a final lap that was. Drive today does go to Busy Gorgon. Fair play. What an insane end to that race. Anyway, what an insane race that was. Busy Gorgon gets second from 16th on the grid. Behind GSR F1, he made up 3 places that race. Sync Sam, second to 4th for him. As Hamilton once said, you don't go from 2nd to 4th, but I reckon he could probably still be happy with that one, considering it is still a good points result for him. Axe, 17th to 15th. Bad F1 Opinions gets 6th place, which will be enough to put him ahead of Kyle S in the standings. But that safety car really changed everything, and Whammon's penalties really didn't help him. He had 5 3-second penalties overall, which is not ideal for him, not what he would have wanted anyway. But that is going to be it then for Tier 1. That is going to be the end of the Saturday night action in GSR. So join us tomorrow evening for Tier 5 at US, the same track, 6:30 PM UK time tomorrow for that. Yeah, as I was saying, GSR Tier 5 tomorrow at 6:30 UK time, then Tier 2 directly after at 8:15 UK time. So make sure to join us then. But what a race that was. V2X Combat comes out on top in a crazy race in the United States. From me, EXFL Charlie, we'll see you next time.